Lagos Talks
91.3.
News.
The Central Bank of Nigeria has announced the new cash withdrawal limit. The Apex Bank announced the new regulation in a letter to all deposit money banks and other financial institutions, with the regulatory directives taking effect nationwide from January 9th, 2023. The letter, dated December 6th, 2022, and signed by the CBN Director of Banking Supervision, Haruna B. Mustafa, informs that in line with the cashless policy of the CBN, the maximum cash withdrawal over the counter by individuals and corporate organizations per week will henceforth be 100,000 Naira and 500,000 Naira respectively. It said withdrawals above the limits will attract processing fees of 5% and 10% respectively. According to the Apex Bank, the maximum cash withdrawal per week via ATMs will be 100,000 Naira, subject to a maximum of 20,000 Naira cash withdrawal per day. It also said only denominations of 200 Naira and below will be loaded into the ATMs. It also added that third-party checks above 50,000 Naira will be eligible for payment over the counter, while extant limits of 10 million Naira on clearing checks still subsist. The federal government has declared that it has implemented all the demands presented to it by the SARS protesters in October 2020. Minister for Police Affairs, Dr. Mohammed Megari Dinyadi, spoke in Abuja at the public dissemination of the post-SARS research and training of police oversight agencies on oversight mechanisms. He recalled that 5 demands of the protesters, otherwise known as the 5 for 5 demands, also included an upward review of police emolument, setting up of independent investigation, justice for victims of police infractions, and re-evaluation of disbanded SARS personnel. The President, Muhammadu Buhari, has forwarded the names of Aisha, Ahmed and Edward Adamu to the Senate for confirmation as deputy governors of the Central Bank of Nigeria to serve for a second and final term at the Apex Bank. Buhari, in a letter read at plenary on Tuesday by Senate President Ahmed said the request was in line with the provisions of Section 8, subsection 1, 2 of the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN Establishment Act 2007. Adamu, a graduate of ABU Zaria, has spent 25 years in the Apex Bank. Also, Mrs. Aisha Ahmed was first appointed CBN Deputy Governor in charge of financial system stability in 2018. Meanwhile, the President has declared that the National Agency for Science and Engineering Infrastructure, NASENI, will be a pivotal legacy his government will hand down to the next administration in 2023. Speaking in Abuja during the commissioning of a complex named after him at the NASENI headquarters, the President stated that the agency under his administration was being repositioned to become a technology and innovation hub for national development. The NASENI Executive Vice Chairman, Professor Mohammed Sani Haruna, in his welcome address, acknowledged that it was the first time a Nigerian president was visiting the agency, while assuring of the agency's commitment in contributing towards overcoming the country's development challenges. Lauding his exemplary leadership, the president had nominated the NASENI vice chairman for national honors come the next Federal Executive Council meeting. Nearly 2 months after the last batch of the 63 kidnapped victims of the March 28th train attack in Kaduna were released, the victims are demanding compensation from the federal government to enable them restart life. Their demand is coming just 24 hours after the Nigerian Railway Corporation (NRC) resumed train operations on the Kaduna-Abuja route, 8 months after it suspended operations following the attack that claimed the lives of 9 passengers. However, the victims who spoke to journalists in Kaduna lamented that most of them lost their means of livelihood when they were in the custody of the terrorists who kidnapped them during the train attack. The president of the Nigerian Bar Association, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Yakubu Mekau, on Tuesday declined to participate in the call to bar ceremony presided over by the chairman, body of benchers, Chief Wale Olanikbeku, SAN. In a statement, the NBA president said to do so would be to endorse, celebrate or condone a practice that he considered unwholesome and unprofessional by virtue of the Rules of Professional Conduct for Legal Practitioners 2007. The NBA president's action comes 2 days after he wrote a letter to the chairman of the body of benchers asking him to step aside and not preside over the call to bar ceremony in the interest of safeguarding the integrity of the legal profession. He cited allegations of professional misconduct against Olanikbeku in the wake of allegations that the senior lawyer uses his position to influence judges and get favorable judgments for his clients. The Congress of University Academics has expressed its disappointment with the federal government, especially the Ministry of Labour and Employment, over the non-payment of its members' withheld salaries, even when the government knew that the union did not call for strike action and its members were not involved in the strike action, which lasted for 8 months, shutting down the university system nationwide. CONUA, in a statement on Tuesday, signed by its national president, secretary and publicity secretary, Dr. Nii Shonumo and Dr. Ernest Nwoke, respectively, said it was wrong for the federal government to lump CONUA with members of the Academic Staff Union of Universities who went on 8-month strike between February and October 2022. The new union of lecturers thereby viewed to sue federal government for withholding its members' salaries. CONUA, a rival union to the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, was in October presented the certificate of registration along with Nigeria Association of Medical and Dental Lecturers in Academics by the Labour Minister Chris Ngige at the peak of the strike. The Indigenous people of Biafra has told residents of Southeast that it did not give any 5-day sit-at-home order in the region. The group therefore asked the people to ignore the order, describing it as senseless from those against the Biafra agenda. This is following a video currently circulating online ordering the people of the Southeast to observe a sit-at-home on December 9th to 14th, 2022. However, in a statement by IPOB's Media and Publicity Secretary, Emma Powerful, the group said it never issued any sit-at-home order on the days mentioned. The abducted Benue State Commissioner for Housing and Urban Development, Ekpe Ogbu, has regained his freedom. This was disclosed by Colonel Paul Hemba, retired, the Special Advisor on Security Matters to Governor Samuel Otom, who added that more details on his release will be made available soon. It is unclear if any money was paid as ransom to secure the commissioner's release. Ogbu's release comes 2 days after he was kidnapped at the notorious Adankari Junction along the Otukpo-Ado Road in Benue State. And now to foreign news, at least 86 gunmen have laid down arms and renounced violence in Niger's southwestern Tawa region. The region has been hit by armed gangs operating between Niger and northern Nigeria who carry out killings and kidnappings for ransom. At a ceremony to receive them in the town of Bangui, some of the so-called repentant kidnappers said they resorted to criminality because they had no jobs, but later realized violence was not an option. They have called on the government to provide more job opportunities, and they were pardoned by the authorities following their surrender and are expected to be rehabilitated and given vocational skills. Elsewhere, Indonesia's parliament has approved a new criminal code which bans anyone in the country from having extramarital sex and restricts political freedoms. Sex outside marriage will carry a jail term of up to a year under the new laws, which take effect in 3 years. The raft of changes comes after a rise in religious conservatism in the Muslim majority country. Critics see the laws as a disaster for human rights and a potential blow to tourism and investment. In business, the Nigerian National Petroleum Company NNPC Limited has signed 5 memoranda of understanding with 5 national oil companies and relevant entities on the Nigeria-Morocco gas pipeline project. The 5 national oil companies and relevant entities are from Gambia, Ghana, Guinea-Bissau, Guinea, and Sierra Leone. Signed in Morocco, the ceremony was attended by the Group Chief Executive Officer of the NNPC Limited, Yari, Dr. Amina Benkadra, General Director of Morocco's National Office of Hydrocarbons and Mines, Mr. Babako Neji, and Managing Director of the Gambia National Petroleum Corporation. Speaking at the event, Kyari commended the NNPC's partners who have diligently worked with the NNPC Limited all through the years to bring Nigeria-Morocco gas pipeline project to the limelight. In sports, Morocco has made it through to the quarterfinals of the World Cup Qatar 2022. The Atlas Lions of Morocco defeated former world champion Spain 3-0 via penalties after playing goalless at regulation time. Morocco's goalkeeper Yassine Bono was the hero for the African representative as he stopped 2 penalties. This is the first time Morocco will play in the quarterfinals of the World Cup, equaling the feat of Senegal in 2002 and Cameroon in 1990. Former Barcelona and Cameroon striker Samuel Eto'o has apologized for his part in what he described as a violent altercation following a match at the World Cup in Qatar. A video posted online appeared to show the 41-year-old, who is now president of his country's football federation, Fecafoot, lashing out at a man with a video camera. The incident occurred outside Stadium 974 in Doha after Monday's last 16 match between Brazil and South Korea, which the South Americans won 4-1. Eto'o, a 4-time African Footballer of the Year, said he was provoked by a fan who was probably an Algerian supporter as part of an ongoing campaign of harassment following Cameroon's World Cup playoff win over Algeria in March. And finally, entertainment news. Alula, the daughter of late gospel singer Sammy Okposo, has on social media described her father's death as shocking, adding that she still feels blank over the development. The gospel minister died last week in Lagos at the age of 51. The funeral arrangements for the singer has been released with a tribute night which will be held for him on Tuesday, December 13th in Lagos, followed by a service of songs next day, Wednesday. The funeral service for Okposo will take place on December 15th and will be a private affair, according to the announcement.
Lagos Talks
91.3